The calendar's quickly approaching the final weekend in April, which means only one thing. Sayre National's the place to be. Spots are filling fast for the second annual The Bob four-man scramble, April 29th and 30th. It's 2 fun-filled days of golf, food, and prize money, but you can't do any of those 3 without getting entered into the tournament. To do so, give the Pro Shop a call, 580-928-9046. Come enjoy the atmosphere at Sayre National, Western Oklahoma's most inclusive club.
If you build it, he will.
It's the Skinny on Sports Podcast with Aaron Cow.
I throw balls far. You want good words? Data language.
Talk real sports with a real man.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
And now, here's the be-all, end-all, know-it-all of high school, college, and pro sports. Aaron Skinny Cow with the Skinny on Sports.
We're talking about practice, man. I'm the MVP.
And a good Monday morning out there to you, Western Oklahoma. Welcome to the Skinny on Sports, right here on 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal. Hanging out this morning in the sports bar at Sayre National. Big weekend ahead here at Sayre National with the second annual The Bob tournament coming up. We'll talk about that right off the top. We'll hit some NBA playoffs, some little kid baseball that happened this weekend. If you're worried about the longevity of Elk City baseball, this weekend tells you don't worry about that. A lot of success on the diamond for Elk City baseball. So we got that. The NFL draft, of course, and at 9:30, Jim Traber will be with us as well. So a full, fun-packed show ahead. 225-9698 is the phone or the text line. 225-9698. Give us a call, shoot us a text. We can talk about any of those things, whatever else might be on your mind. Feel free to chime right in at 225-9698. If you're going to be outside the listening area, you can stay in touch with us live a couple of different ways. Log on to kadsam.com or download the app. The Paragon Communications app is free, completely free, and it's got radio, Penny News, Big Elk TV. We've got an announcement about Big Elk TV as well today. And then the Skinny on Sports podcast available, kadsam.com. Find it there. You can find it on iTunes. You can find it anywhere that hosts podcasts. Jared Atha, how are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Wonderful. It was. I'm going to tell you something. It was the coldest I've ever been at a baseball game on Saturday. It was freezing cold. Out on top of that hill at the Fiveplex, I got to do the Dream League in the morning.
Yeah.
Where the Dream League field is, it's kind of down and secluded with some buildings to the north, some trees.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, man, this isn't too bad. And then I got out on the hill at the Fiveplex, and I went, oh, my gosh, hurry up and get over. It was awful. Joining us now also is Jay Manning from the Sayre Golf Association. Big weekend coming up, Jay.
It is, man. I'm so excited. We finally got here. We got a lot going on, that's for sure. We're very excited. I'm just ready for it to get here, and the weather looks so good right now. I'm just nervously, anxiously waiting it to be that pretty.
Now, is it possible that you can pick 2 straight golf tournament weekends in a row like you did Alumni and then coming up on the Bob this weekend?
Man, I don't, man. If we get lucky again, I will be thoroughly impressed. But it's Alumni was beautiful, and it's tracking that way right now, so I'm very hopeful.
If you keep getting nice weather for your tournaments, people are going to be calling you. Can you play in our tournament?
Yes, that's fine. I'll take it that
way. You have the secret of getting nice weather.
Yeah,
you're going to get a lot of calls.
Yeah, I got an honorary spot for the Oil and Gas Committee and the KECO golf tournament for you. Just
and he will help.
Sunny and 75. That's all we
need, right?
All right, so it's a 4-man scramble. There's tee times in the afternoon that is full, a full 18 teams in the morning. There's still 3 spots left. What do people have to do? Because, listen, last year it was awesome. Everybody had a great time.
Oh, yeah.
Coming back to do it again. It's a 2-day tournament. You're talking about a dinner for the players on Saturday, the Calcutta, all that kind of stuff going on here in the tournament. How do people get involved?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We have 3 spots left in the morning, so 7:30 a.m. tee time. Call the clubhouse, 928-9046. Again, if they have any more questions and Megan can't answer that, they can get a hold of us. She'll give them our numbers. But, yeah, it's $600 a team. 4-person. Again, we just have 3 spots available on that morning round, so we'd really like to get that thing full. But, yeah, that's that's the best way to do it. And yeah, Calcutta on Saturday night. So after the round, we'll eat and get that thing going and have that auction for the Calcutta. And then and of course during the round we're going to have some stuff there too. So again, Barbara Dyson Ford, I know we've talked about it, and Cud's going to cook for us and have some lunch. Again, that was something we didn't have last year, and that's going to be huge. I mean, we were all starving when we got done both days, and and then again, BD Ford's going to have that trailer out there keeping us hydrated. And again, real quick, there's a couple things: Great Plains Bank, Momentum, and then Wheeler General Store, along with Cud and Barbara Dyson Ford. Those are our main sponsors on this deal, and we could not do it without them at all. So, and big shout out to Great Plains Bank. They've been with us, since I've been on this board, and they've done a lot for us. So we're really excited to have them. But yeah, Saturday morning, 7:30 a.m. is what time we'll start. Registration will be obviously a little earlier than that, but I'll be here early and ready to rock.
And the thing about it is, on Saturday, for the team, the spots that are open, the 3 spots, it doesn't mean if you got something on Sunday morning, you're thinking, oh man, I got to play in the morning both days. That doesn't have to happen.
No.
If you come and play well on Saturday, you'll get that afternoon tea time on Sunday.
Absolutely, yep. So it's not obviously we'll flight it Saturday evening, and then Sunday's flights. So C&D will play at 7:30 a.m. and then the A and B players, they'll play in the afternoon. So yeah, absolutely. Just because you're on 7:30 a.m. on Saturday does not mean you'll have to play that time again. So come shoot low, and you'll be in the afternoon on Sunday.
Could somebody that's not playing in the tournament come by and hang out at dinner and participate in the Calcutta?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's how we did it last year, and we want as many people as we can get out here. That's the whole goal here. Get as many people to come out here and see this course, and this is a great place. Like I said last week, this thing has been amazing for us, and we're excited in the direction it's going.
Yeah, I think anybody that was here last year will be impressed with the improvements that you guys have done. You can talk about those a little bit, and then just the overall condition of the golf course that Matt has it in right now.
Oh, man, absolutely. So Matt and Rob have done a tremendous job. The greens are in great shape. Like I said, we've done a lot of things. There's a lot of different things that have gone on this winter and obviously the early spring. The tee boxes, like I said, still doing some work on them, and again, just some other things on those ponds, that we did to make it look a little different. So these guys will be thoroughly impressed, I hope. And I hope this rain comes in and it'll green it up pretty quick. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just looking up the hill on number 1, I can't wait to see if it does rain and then it gets warm.
Yeah.
We might literally see grass growing on Saturday and Sunday afternoon.
Telling you. Yeah, absolutely. That's all we need.
What else? 3 teams, 2 tee times. And then Saturday night, anybody can come.
Absolutely, yeah.
And participate Calcutta-wise. What else you got?
That's really kind of we're here, so it's that time, and like I said, anybody can come out. Yeah, I enter some teams. Like I said, we need 3 guys. We need 3 more teams, so we can just get 12 more guys that want to play some golf this weekend, and we've got a full boat. So and then anybody can come out and enjoy the weekend, and we'd love to have them.
Well, and I know just looking at some of the list of teams on Saturday afternoon, just if you want to come out and have some refreshments and watch some good golf, there are some really, really good teams that'll be here on Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be enjoyable to watch for sure. There's some good golfers coming out here, so we're really excited about it.
Now, who is your team?
So my team would be Mr. Will Malloy, Chance Silas, and Mr. Keener, Jason Keener. We're going to dominate, I'm sure. D-flight, I would imagine.
Will Malloy, let's see.
Dominate what?
Will Malloy of the 2.5 games behind the Milwaukee Brewers, Chicago Cubs.
Yeah,
Will Malloy,
that would be
the one we're talking
about.
I actually get the pleasure of playing with the tournament's namesake.
Yes, you do.
I will be with the Bob.
I know. That's big. That's big.
I'm completely honored to be able to be with the Bob.
That's right.
And hanging out for a couple of days for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, so 928-9046 is the phone number here at the Pro Shop. And then if they have questions, the players that want to join, the 3 more teams left, they have questions, they can, the Pro Shop can direct it to you guys.
Absolutely,
that are on the committee, and you can answer any of those questions. What about, I know a question a lot of people will have, what about carts?
Carts are limited out here. That's so they need to, if they need a cart, anybody who's out there listening, give them a call. At the morning, I think there's only 2 carts left, but we can even if there's somebody shows up and needs something, we'll figure it out. We're not gonna make anybody not play because they didn't bring a card. So we'll get that figured out. But yes, that's the big thing. We just need to make sure they get reserved.
I have a question on the text line. Is Jay already drinking?
Well, not the silver can.
Jared, you're going to need to pick out a T-shirt. You're going to need to pick out a T-shirt for our Masters Fantasy Champ. That's who's texting in.
Oh,
Drew.
okay.
Drew's funny. He already has the green one, by the way, so don't double up.
Was he a double XL? What size are we looking for?
I mean, I would guess that, but
maybe ask him that off air. Okay.
Well, you just ask him on, so it doesn't really matter. Well, Jay, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
This is our last Monday here. It's been a great time.
Yep.
Hopefully, we've done some good for the Sayre Golf Association and Sayre National here. I know one thing. Since we've been coming here, we got a new name. That may be our lasting impression. We do have a new name.
Very true. We appreciate you guys coming out. It's been a big thing for us.
All right, 3 teams left for the Bob this weekend. It's a 4-man, 2-day golf tournament. Morning tee times are available, 3 of those. And then, of course, the afternoon. That doesn't have to be what you play on Sunday, though. Come out here, light it up, and you'll have a Sunday tee time and be able to buy yourself in the Calcutta and eat some good food. And
that's right.
Drink some good drinks, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great weekend. What's next?
I can't say that one on there. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll hit some different things before Jim is here at 9:30. The Skinny on Sports hanging out at Sayre National here on a Monday. Come on back, 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal.
The NBA playoffs have started. The NFL draft's nearly here. Heck, Major League Baseball is even more enjoyable with quicker games. And, of course, the PGA Tour is in full swing. With all those things happening at once, you need a spot with multiple TVs. That place is the Sports Bar at Sayre National, which is equipped with multiple TVs as well as cold drinks to share with your buddies as you cuss and discuss your favorite team's fortunes. Come enjoy the atmosphere at Sayre National, Western Oklahoma's most inclusive club.
The Skinny on Sports.
Welcome back, Skinny on Sports, 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal. We're hanging out at Sayre National this morning. Might be able to play golf today. I think the rain's going to hold off today.
Already come in.
Has there?
Yep. Trying to get a quick 9 in, I guess.
Go play some golf today, then hopefully you don't get to play the next couple of days with the rain moving in, and then by the weekend, warming up, and the grass will green and burst out quickly all across western Oklahoma. I mean, it's
rain. Yeah, the rain chances I've seen, I think, might be very convenient because we got, of course, slow pitch and baseball playoffs coming up this week. And I think when those are supposed to happen, it's not going to rain. It might be cool, but it's not going to rain. And then by this weekend, hopefully it's just gorgeous out there.
I was talking to Coach Farnell. He had the Canute junior high and high school baseball teams
I
at
saw
Dream
that.
League
Yeah.
on Saturday, and he said he had already kind of been in contact with J-Mac about
possibly
maybe on Friday, depending on how much rain and what you really get, at the field at Canute that's, natural grass and dirt, whether or not it would be ready to go. If not, Elk City plays Thursday, they'll be done more than likely. I mean, I guess if something crazy happened and an if game had to happen but I don't know that anybody's really planning on that. So that could be something that would be a possibility for Canute since they're hosting that regional.
When will we
that stuff
see,
should come today.
That's what I was wondering. When will we see that? Usually around early afternoon is
I think
the latest.
I think we'll know that by noon or 2 o'clock or something like that.
Asked him for both baseball and slow pitch.
What the regionals will look like coming up this week. I also know that Elk City Golf and Country Club is supposed to host the girls golf regional tomorrow. Haven't heard anything official, but I think the chances of that actually occurring are pretty slim. That may be something that happens on Thursday. After these 2 days on Tuesday and Wednesday, kind of move out. I saw junior high and high. The track meet was moved from Weatherford from yesterday to today to try to beat everything. So there's a lot of balls in the air, a lot of moving parts with all the spring sports kind of trying to get their seasons wrapped up with regionals and the small school baseball and the slow pitch, and then of course the bi-district round for the 4A starting here this week. And so
which might be a perfect segue into
Big Elk TV.
Yeah.
I mentioned we talk about Big Elk TV every single day about what's in the app. Well, Big Elk TV will be on the air Thursday, 1 o'clock. Elk City against Dixon. The Comets of Dixon coming in for bi-district baseball action. We will have both of those games. 1 o'clock is the first pitch for Game 1. Game 2 will probably be 30 minutes behind, after that game is played. But that will be Big Elk TV. We will have those games covered. You and I will be out there watching the Big Elks start what most people are are thinking and hoping will be a run to a second straight state tournament. And who knows, once you get there, with the way that the Elks have played this season, it's interesting. People are at once they figured out Elk City's pretty good. Like, what are they ranked? Where are they ranked? I'm like, I don't know.
It's not really a thing.
I can't tell you. Yeah,
it's not a thing anymore. There's those power rankings.
The Prep Baseball Report.
Yeah, and based on that, a lot of people think they are the best team in 4A because they've beaten some of the best teams in 4A. All that doesn't matter. They got to go win now.
That's right.
And that starts on Thursday. For those who don't know, it's a best of 3 format, right? And you just win 2 and move on. And with them, by virtue of winning the district, they'll get the host next week and probably see some pretty good competition coming next week too, based on results in in other districts, right?
Yeah, you're looking at if Elk City can beat Dixon, which Dixon will come in 1-26 on the year, 0-14 in District 3.
So you're telling me there's a chance that they can beat them. Okay.
So if that result holds, and then the higher seed in the other bi-districts that they're slated to move into the regional here at Elk City, you're talking about Mount St. Mary's out of District 1, who would be the 4th place team. But, oh, by the way, the last team to beat the Elks, the team that snapped that 18-game winning streak for the Elk City Elks, was Mount St. Mary. Chickasha, 25-5. They're number 2 in District 2. They actually tied for the district title with Blanchard and lost by virtue of that tiebreaker because they lost the last game by the exact same amount of runs. They won the first game of those 2. If they'd have lost the first one and won the second one, they would have been district champions. But Chickasha, much improved. A name as the head coach that people know right here in this town where we're sitting in Sayre, Kevin James Lumpy, has done a great job in his first year there at Chickasha, has them 25-5, 13-1 in District 2. And so that's a formidable team. And then also the third-place team out of District 3 is Sulphur. When they went 20-9, 9-5 in the district, just finished behind Lone Grove and Marlowe. So that's talking to Jay a little bit already. He understands and trying to preach to his team. Listen, there may not be a tougher regional in the state of Oklahoma than what's going to be right here at Ackley Park in Elk City if those seeds hold to form the way that most people think they will. So, yeah, it's certainly not just going to be a breeze and a cakewalk into the state tournament for the Big Elks.
No, and you want that. You want to be battle-tested. You don't want it to be a cakewalk going into the highest tournament of the year, the state tournament, and then – stuff could happen. So you want those tough opponents, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's a big part of why they played the schedule they played. I mean, when you look down at outside of the district play, but you got Tuttle, the trip to Gulf Shores, saw a bunch of different quality teams there. Played Blanchard twice. They've just kind of snuck in the Kingfisher, a Chickasha game, Bing, Hara. I mean, they've put a bunch of these games on the weekends where they're able to get to see a lot of different teams, McGinnis, and then mentioned Mount St. Mary. They're going to Bethany today. So, Jay has really tried to battle test his team as much as humanly possible to get ready for what's coming. And we'll see what that hopefully that pays dividends once they get into the playoff situations that are coming.
Yeah, and that is the common denominator. When you look at teams that compete for state titles year in and year out, you look at their schedule, and they are not shying away from competition, no matter what the class is or where it's located or whatever. When the time of the week, whatever, they are looking for those tough teams to play against. And kudos to both teams and coaches saying, "Hey, let's play each other. Let's give it a go. This should be fun," because that's just fun for the fans, right? You don't want to see 12-0 games every week or every day. You want to see fun, good, high quality baseball. Kudos to J-Mac and his staff and Hunt for putting together what we hope is a championship schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mentioned in the opener, Big Elk baseball, Elk City baseball, doesn't appear to be going away just because with the
so what did you see? Yeah,
on this team, 14U champions this weekend. was the Outlaws. I mean, that's a team, the 8th graders that were actually playing in the school ball, some 7th graders as well. Man, they've been awesome this year, both sides. And so they continue to roll it up in the summer, winning that tournament this weekend. Then the 12U, the Crushers, those kids are mostly 6th graders with a couple of 7th graders and a couple of 5th graders kind of sprinkled in there. So that's a couple of classes. And then you look down, clear to the 8U team, the Smash, won their first ring ever for those kids. It was a fun game, and the difference in watching the 12U final versus the 8U coach pitch final was off the charts. It was like you weren't even at the same game as far as the enthusiasm and the joy of the fans. I mean, man, it was so much fun. Altus Monkeys was the final, and it was back and forth. Altus scored, I think, 5 runs in the top of the last inning to tie it.
Oh, boy.
And then the Smash had to come back out, and they got 1 hit, and then Tucker Phillips hit it down the right field line, clear to the fence, and the winning run flew in there to score, and the Smash were able to win 16-15. But, man, it was a lot of fun to watch just the difference in the sound of the game.
Yeah.
Everybody, you hear the kind of the older kids, and then you go to the younger kids and the
right
things they say, and it was like 100 decibels higher than what it was in the finals of the game that we watched with Wyatt and them. So it was a lot of fun. It was a cool weekend.
Literally.
With what happened
on Saturday.
Oh, yeah, it was cold. And listen,
I bet those kids weren't cold, though.
I promise you, it was cold on Saturday.
I got out in trying to get some stuff done, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to stay in the barn today. I'm going to stay in the garage and watch the spring game. I'm not going to venture outside too much.
Okay, so that's what I want to ask you about. You got to watch it. I didn't get to watch much of it. What was your opinion? What did you see from the Sooners in the spring game?
You don't want to overreact because it's a spring game. The offense is very benign and basic, but the things that we were looking for, I was looking for. The defense, they looked like, and I try not to get too overreactive to it, like I said. But then after the game, and you kind of wait a little bit, then you get reaction from, pro writers, from reputable sources. I'm like, did they see the same thing I saw? And they did. The defense it looked like they knew where they're supposed to be. They looked more comfortable in Venable's schemes, and they were flying all over the place. McCullough was awesome. He was involved a lot. He looks like he is the real deal. Bowen had an interception early, and it was a heck of an interception. I don't know if you've seen it. I mean, he had to lay out to get it. Not a lot of people can do that, especially as a true freshman. So there was a lot of good things happening. Now, on the negative, the offense, more wide receivers need to step up. Obviously, there's going to be Stoops, and there's going to be Stogner. Gavin, it looked like they're trying to mold Gavin Freeman into Stoops Part 2. Is that little beast of a guy in the slot that always finds himself open, and he had a touchdown grab and had a couple more grabs, and you can see where that potential is right there. But someone else needs to step up in the wide receiver game. And, Jackson Arnold, that's, everyone's going to look. Whether you admit it or not, you're going to watch and see, have high expectations for him. He did some things that he obviously looked like a 5-star number 1 quarterback can do. Especially with his legs. Shame on the blue shirt stuff, because he would have made some more long plays with his legs if it wasn't for touch football rules. And he made some throws that made the wide receiver open. If you throw your wide receiver open, he made some throws like that. One of those was to Freeman in the seam route down the middle for a touchdown. He looked the part. He's the solid number 2. It is Dylan Gabriel's team. He had a slow start, but he settled down, and he, too, made some play with his legs, and he looked poised and looked like a veteran. So, but those are just some of the reactions I saw, some of my takeaways.
Yeah, just reading what I've read and seeing a little bit that I saw, the one thing that I think you have to be concerned about as an OU fan is offensive line and depth at the offensive line. Mm-hmm. I think a big part of the way Arnold struggled to start, of course, it was 2s against 1s, but it felt like they were knocking down the passes every time he tried to throw it there early on because the offensive line was not giving him time. Now, I get it. That's what should happen when your first-team defense is going against your second-team offense. You would want to see some separation there, and that definitely was occurring. But that I would say, receivers outside of Stoops and Farouk, they've proven that they can play at this level. Nobody else really has. I mean, Jaden Gibson dropping the game winner, it's essentially there. That's not a great sign. He seems to keep talking and maybe not seeing a lot of results. And he's a guy that when you look out there, he pops off the screen because of his size. He's fast. But you got to be able to make some plays. So I think that's something going through the summer and into the fall that's definitely going to be a question mark. Offensive line's definitely going to be a question mark. I
failed to mention the running backs. The running backs look solid.
Yeah, I think I
don't think there was never really a question there.
And maybe pass blocking is what I should say, because the run blocking, we even saw it against Florida State, and that really kind of popped off the screen with Barnes and Sawchuk that night. Sawchuk was leading receiver in the game the other day. I think I saw with a few catches out of the backfield, which that's just another dynamic that he can bring to the team. But I think overall, Sooner fans seemed very, very happy with what they saw on the defense.
The defense.
And that's and it ought to be that way in a spring game when you've gone through this many practices and you kind of know and have a feel for what's coming. And so, if the defense doesn't win the day, you kind of feel like, here we go again. So, I mean,
you've been game prepping for this game for months. It feels, for weeks. It's not like a week to week like you do in the regular season. So you should, It's like inter squad. I don't. Just happened this yesterday, inter-squatting practice with softball. When the coach gives the steal sign, everybody knows the steal sign.
Right. Exactly
the catcher's looking over. She's ready to throw it down there to second.
Exactly.
Same thing, yeah.
But I think the one positive is the guys that were brought in the portal, and maybe some of the young guys that were in this recruiting class that were really, really ballyhooed seem to be the ones making the play. You mentioned McCullough got rave reviews at that cheetah position. Obviously, Peyton Bowen with the play that it was just awesome. It looked exactly like defensive back play is supposed to happen. Run hip to hip, have your eyes on the ball, make a play on the ball, and you catch it. Instead of trying to face guard somebody because you're beat or whatever. Yeah. I mean, he was right there step for step and doing what he was supposed to be doing. So I think that's the it's still prove it to you on game day, prove it to you on a season. But I think you got to be at least a little bit, the nerves might be calmed just a little bit with the performance of OU's defense in the spring game.
Well, it gives us hope. We kept saying after last season, that the defense, are we calling it complex under Venables or just obviously a completely different scheme than what Grinch would throw out there? Would year two would we see people more relaxed in their position, knowing exactly what they got to do instead of looking around kind of, lost, and we saw a bit more of that. But I want to see it against. Now we saw it against that. Well, I want to see it against real competition, not over pursuing, not being out of position. But it was promising. I'll give it that. I thought about it over a weekend. What's a overreaction? To the spring game. It's a question for Jim we'll have coming up. What an overreaction to the spring game? What's a good reaction? And I'm trying not to overreact about Bowen. I'm trying not to.
I'm
trying not to do it.
A lot of people that cover the team, that's the one thing they're all saying is, I'm trying not to knee-jerk and put Peyton Bowen as an all-star.
Listen, because the overreaction is he's going to be a superstar this year. Mm-hmm. Now, I'll agree he's going to be a superstar by the end of his career. Mm-hmm. Now, this year, I think we'll see flashes of really cool and really good stuff from the kid, but we got to keep telling ourselves this is a true freshman, all right? He's probably going to prom next weekend, okay? Probably going back home to go to prom. So I have to keep telling myself that, but I'm trying not to overreact. But Peyton Bowen, you can tell why he was such a ballyhooed guy to get and why it was such a big deal for him to flip about a half a dozen times until he finally landed at OU, because he, I think, in the long run, is the real deal.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, the Ultimate Jim Traber will be on. We'll talk NBA playoffs. We'll hit the NFL draft, which is coming up on Thursday, and also get his thoughts about what he saw at the spring game at OU on Saturday. We're hanging out at Sayre National right here in the Sports Bar. Come on back. It's a Skinny on Sports right here on the Sports Animal.
The calendar's quickly approaching the final weekend in April, which means only one thing. Sayre National's the place to be. Spots are filling fast for the second annual The Bob four-man scramble, April 29th and 30th. It's 2 fun-filled days of golf, food, and prize money, but you can't do any of those 3 without getting entered into the tournament. To do so, give the Pro Shop a call, 580-928-9046. Come enjoy the atmosphere at Sayre National, Western Oklahoma's most inclusive club.
The Skinny on Sports.
Welcome back, Skinny on Sports, 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal, hanging out here at the Sports Bar at Sayre National Golf Course. Don't forget the four-man, known as the Bob, coming up 2-day four-man golf tournament. Still 3 spots left with the morning tee time on Saturday. So get involved. 928-9046. Play Saturday, have a dinner and an auction on Saturday night, and then come back on Sunday to try to take home the prize money. 928-9046 is the phone number to get involved in the Bob. Joining us now is the voice you're going to hear right here on these airwaves at 2 o'clock. It's the ultimate Jim Traber. Jim, how are you?
I'm good, fellas. How you guys doing?
Doing well. Like I told you off air, I'm still trying to warm up after watching baseball Saturday afternoon out in the cold and the wind, and I think maybe my feet have finally unthawed and ready to
suck it up, man. I played in some freezing cold weather.
Well,
I got opening. Hey, I played the very first opening day ever in Maine, and we flew in. We flew into Boston and drove up there, and that night it snowed, and they took a daggone helicopter out to the field to try to dry the field off and dry the field and warm it up so we could play. It was like 35 degrees. So me being the veteran of the squad, unfortunately, I think it was like the 3rd or 4th time I had been in AAA, and I was mad that I didn't make the big league team. I walked into the clubhouse. You know, there's all these kids that are all fired up first time in AAA, and I walked into the locker room and I said, "Listen, fellas," because I was the kangaroo court judge.
Yeah.
You guys know what kangaroo court is, right? For people out there that don't know, every team has like a kangaroo court, and you get fined a certain amount of money for doing stupid things, you know. And then there's a judge. Well, I was the judge, and I walked in and I said, "Fellas, every pitch you take today, you're getting fined. I don't care if it's over top of your head. If you don't swing, you're getting fined." And we played that game, and the other side was the Phillies, and it was Darren Dalton and all these other older dudes that I knew, and he did the same thing. And we played the game in an hour and 15 minutes. And I will tell you this: anybody who's all mad now about the game being too long, you'd have loved sitting in 35-degree weather and watching that junk, okay? I had 4 at-bats. I saw 5 pitches, and I was very happy to get 1 base hit. And it was horrible. So don't you dare cry, okay?
Well, it'd have been easier if I'd have been out there playing. I'd have been moving around a little bit instead of just sitting in my lawn chair.
Sit down and wrap up. How many layers did you have on?
A couple. Not enough.
Still cold,
I still wasn't prepared. Everybody had blankets, and I
had layers on, too. I had long underwear on. I had a daggone thing over my head. Yeah, I had layers on, too, but it doesn't matter. And trust me, you're not moving that much. You're standing over there at first base.
Yeah, that's
so,
very true.
Cold weather stinks for baseball.
No doubt about it. Hey, the NBA playoffs. I think we were robbed of one of the better series with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George not being there. I think they've been underwhelming for me outside of the Kings and the Warriors. We saw the Kings get out 2-0. Then the Warriors showing their championship medal yesterday to even that series 2-2. It has been by far the best series and were really entertaining to watch.
Well, guys, if you've been listening to me, man, I love the Kings. I love the way they play. And I really believe that the Thunder are going to play very similarly when they get all their pieces. I just love, running up and down the floor. And, in Game 3, they couldn't hit any shots. They got beat up. When they hit shots, look out. They're going to play with everybody. What a great game. It really was. A lot of things you could talk about towards the end there. It's amazing that Steph Curry called a timeout. But that happens sometimes. You get under duress. And Steve Kerr took the blame, I guess, and said, "Hey, I didn't let him know hard enough, but I'll bet you the amount of money somebody let him know." Because there's guys on the bench, and they got about 13 or 15 people on the bench, and one of them is in charge of telling people, "Hey, we got 1 timeout, we got no timeout." So that was a tough little deal, but great basketball game. Harrison Barnes, man, you can't ask. I mean, it's a great shot. They did. The Golden State Warriors did what they should do, and got the ball out of Fox, who was the clutch player in the entire league. They got it out of his hands. And it was just a beautiful thing, really, I thought. Great game. Can't wait for Game 5. I think it's going to go 7, and I'm picking the Kings. I think it's going to go all the way around, and I pick the Kings. As far as the other series concerned, I got to tell you something, fellas. If the Clippers were healthy, I don't know. I mean, Russell Westbrook's playing totally out of his mind. Obviously, he wouldn't even come close to doing that if they had the other two guys. But I think the Suns might be in a little bit of trouble if they were playing this team and they were totally healthy. So, I don't know, man. I picked the Suns to win the West. I still think they got a great chance. But, listen, usually there's 2, 3, 4 series in this round that aren't very good. Right. I mean, that's just the way it is. When you're an 8 seed or a 7 seed and you're playing the 1 or 2, normally it's not close. Now, if you get an injury like Giannis, well, then things can change. But, I think I was just listening to Craig and them. And, of course, Craig and Sam Humphries, his son, is on the board. So the two of them, who are the biggest Russell homers of all time, were just like lauding and lauding. And I had to send a message to him. And this is all I said. I said, Russell's had 3 great games. Why has he been traded 6 times in 5 years? Does anybody know why? If he was averaging 31 points a game, like he is the last 3 games, well, then guess what? He wouldn't have been traded. He's been unbelievable. And it's amazing. You know what's going to happen? Some team's going to get sucked in by this little thing that he's doing right now, and they're going to bring him in next year, and he's going to do what he did. By the way, read off the daggone Laker numbers. 29% from 3. I mean, I'm sorry. I always give it up to people if they do good things. But the excitement, and then Durant and Chris Paul last night, Kevin Durant saying, when he retires, people are going to really talk. What are you talking about, dude? First of all, you didn't want to play with him, okay? That's what you left Oklahoma City because one of the reasons why you didn't want to play with Russell Westbrook anymore. I know there's a bunch of people that are afraid to say that, but that's the truth, okay? That's one of the things. But for him to sit there and go, when he retires, everybody's going to talk about it. We all know what he is, okay? He's one of the greatest athletes that's ever played. He can put up incredible numbers at times, and he plays losing basketball. That's what he does. Now, again, I'll give it up to him for these 3 games. It's amazing. But Russell Westbrook is what he is. And trust me, fellas, someone's going to overpay him, and he's going to go to that team, and he's going to go right back into what he did with the Lakers.
Isn't it interesting that the one game in this series where he didn't shoot the ball worth a crap at all, but did other things, is the game that they won? Now that he's on this tear offensively, the Clippers can't win a game.
Yeah, well, I agree with you, and I would love to. I would love to agree with you 100%. But Kawhi was
right. Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, when you got Kawhi Leonard, your numbers don't matter as much. But now, Game 2, Kawhi played right, and he did, and Russell played well. And then Game 3 and 4, no Kawhi, and he's been really, really good. So look. Everybody knows I don't like Russell Westbrook. Don't like him at all. I think he's a punk. That's what I believe he is. But having said that, I'll tell the truth about him. Some people think I'm too hard on him. Fine, I am too hard on him. You know why? Because nobody else is hard on him. Everybody else just sucks up to him like he's this wonderful human. Oh, he's so great and blah, blah, blah. He's a punk is what he is. So having said that, he's had 3 great games, and I still want all the Russell homers to tell me why has he been traded 6 times in 5 years? Why is that? I guarantee you, fellas, if he played the way he played the last 3 games, he would never be traded, right? We all agree with that, right? So, I'm just saying, traded 6 times in 5 years, something's wrong. And I know what's wrong. It's his numbers over a season. Yep. Tyronn Lue has been really good for him. And maybe the Clippers re-pick him up. I don't know. We'll see.
How worried are you with Milwaukee? Down 2-1 going tonight. Down in Miami, Giannis not available. How worried are you if you're a Milwaukee Bucks fan?
Well, I'm extremely worried. I mean, by the way, I picked Miami Heat at the beginning of the year to win the East, which was stupid as can be, but my gosh, you never know. But anyway, look, they're playing against a veteran team with a great coach. So if Giannis doesn't play, I think Miami's going to win the series. Do you guys agree?
I think so. Duncan Robinson has come out of nowhere to make some shots. They've been getting contributions for some different guys that really we didn't see a ton of during the regular season. But then all of a sudden, here they are on this stage. I mean, I was listening to part of that going home on Saturday. Duncan Robinson has hit more threes in the playoffs for the Heat than Dwayne Wade now. That floored me to hear that stat.
Guys, have you ever heard me? I love Duncan Robinson. He got overpaid. And I said about a month ago, I don't know if you guys heard it, but I said on the air the Thunder should trade for Duncan Robinson while he is low. Did you guys remember me saying that? I said it on the air.
Yes.
I said, since he has no value right now, I would take a chance on him. You know, yeah, he's got a pretty big salary. His salary's too big. But, man, the dude can shoot. We've seen it. You just don't lose it. You might lose it for a period of time. He just got in the doghouse with Bolster. And now we see what he can do. You know, and, with no hero, obviously they needed another dude. So, yeah, hey, guys, listen. The Thunder traded for him and gave up like a number 1 and a couple number 2s. Would you like to see him and Isaiah Joe coming off the bench? That'd be some pretty good shooting right there, fellas.
Yeah, and you can never have enough of that. It doesn't matter how many shooters you think you have. You can never have too many.
You're right. No, you're right. I really wish they would have tried to do it. But, look, I know he's making a lot of money, and they're going to have to pay a bunch of people. I'm not going to get mad at the Thunder for not doing it. I'm just saying I think it would have been a good move. But he is making a lot of money, and the Thunder are going to have to pay a bunch of people in a few years. So probably not horrible that they didn't do it. But forget the Thunder. Why didn't somebody else do it? You got a guy in the doghouse. I bet you could have gotten him for a pretty good deal.
Hey, you mentioned you still like Phoenix in the West. Has your opinion changed after a week or so in the playoffs of your pick in the East? Or are you going to switch it to the Knicks?
I like the Knicks, dude. I picked the Knicks to win this series, but I'm not going to go to the Knicks. I'm going to stay with the Bucks. I mean, I'm just thinking Giannis. I don't know how good he is. You know, I mean, if Giannis can play, I still think the Bucks are the best. But, the Celtics certainly could win it. I mean, there's a couple teams. I don't know. I never believe in the Sixers, but they're sitting there, at home, just relaxing. So I don't know, man. I think it's wide open. If Giannis isn't there, it's definitely wide open.
Let's look toward Thursday, NFL draft. Do you believe that Bryce Young really is going to be the first pick, or do you think some of this smokescreen about what's wrong with C.J. Stroud is coming from the Panthers, or is somebody else trying to make him look worse? That way he falls down the board just a couple of picks and somebody has a franchise quarterback.
Well, I truly believe that what's his name, Bryce Young is the best quarterback in this draft. And I love they did that test, and sometimes those tests are stupid, but that test he did like 98 percentile. And that doesn't surprise me because this dude, he knows the game. He is smart as can be. So I really like what he's all about. Look, as far as Stroud is concerned, I just think it's funny. We always hear this stuff. Some of it's true and some of it isn't. That happens right around the deal. Guys are trying to say this about one guy so he drops, this about one guy so he doesn't drop. I mean, there's just so many things happening, Right now, I think it's really funny. Did you see that video on the internet where Levis is on his knees and he throws the ball 50 yards?
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you guys a question. How many times do you throw the ball from your knees in the NFL? I don't care. There's nothing for me. Yeah, he's got a strong arm. It doesn't bother me. I don't care about a strong arm. You want to be able to get it to the places. You know what? Bryce Young got the ball where it was supposed to be when he played, did he not? I think he did. C.J. Stroud got the ball where he was supposed to get it. So all of those things don't do much for me. I think Bryce Young is the best quarterback. I think C.J. Stroud is the second best quarterback. And I think that Levis and Richardson, hey, good luck with you. Richardson, if you want the greatest athlete to ever see play quarterback, great. At 53% is ridiculous at this time in football. If you can't throw for about 60% or above, that's a problem for me. Accuracy means a lot for me.
Do you think there's any truth to kind of the smoke with Houston? I think that they wanted Bryce Young more than Stroud now that they're number 2. Do you think there's truth to, you hear some Trey Lance rumors of maybe a trade there, or them just flat out going defense with maybe Will Anderson? You think that's true, or do you think ultimately you see C.J. Stroud go number 2?
Well, let me tell you something. If they take Will Anderson, who I love, I think he's the best player in the entire draft. If they take Will Anderson, then they better tank their butts off next year,
Yeah.
which is really hard in football, because then you can get Caleb Williams or Drake May. You know, I mean, because all the experts say that both of those dudes would go number one in this draft. So you better do it, because if you take Will Anderson and then you play better than people think, and you end up, fifth, and you lose out on both of those quarterbacks, it will be a disaster. A disaster. Now, there are some pretty good quarterbacks in the second round and third round, too. The kid from Fresno, there's a bunch of people that are high on him. So you can take that guy, and just see if you, hit on him. They did that with Davis Mills. He's okay. But if you could do something like that and hit on that guy, well, then you might be in good shape. But if not, then you're bad, and then you have to, get the first or second pick next year. Because I got to tell you, I'll be shocked if those two guys don't go 1 and 2 next year. Now, interesting enough, all the bad teams are getting quarterbacks, so who the heck's going to need quarterbacks,
But yeah, that's me and Aaron are kind of talking about that on Friday. I'm not very old, but I can't remember a guy like a Caleb Williams potentially influencing this year's draft because of the potential of him being the number one pick for next year. Do you think that comes into play, or is that just a lot of talk?
Well, I think it definitely comes into play. I just said if Houston takes Will Anderson, then they are hoping that they're going to be really bad again. I mean, it's that simple. Look, guys, I think this is all talk. I think they're thinking, don't you think C.J. Stroud? Are they not? I mean, come on. You can't pass on a dude like that at number 2. I just don't think you can.
No,
but if they do, well, then they're going to have to be one of the worst teams to get one of those other guys.
Where does Bijan go? Bijan Robinson. Is he going to be a top 10 guy, or team's going to do what it seems like they've been doing, thinking, okay, at some point in the first round it's going to make sense, but not that high?
Well, if somebody takes him in the top 10, it'll be a joke for them. I mean, he'll be massively over drafted. And by the way, if he was a different position, except maybe safety, if he was an outside rush guy or an offensive tackle or even a quarterback, as good as he is, he'd be top 3 in this draft. But he's a great player. But you guys have heard me talk about running back for a long time. You can't draft it. I'm telling you. Now the Eagles.
Yeah.
What are they drafted? Number 11?
10. Yeah, 10.
Okay. Now the Eagles are interesting because they lose Miles Sanders, and they got those other 2 guys that are okay. And they're just a player or 2 away from winning the whole thing. So if you want to go for it, go for it. Now, let's tell you this. If they go for it a couple, 3 years from now, fellas, they're going to have a quarterback and a running back and nobody else. Because the money they're going to have to pay out will be ridiculous. So, if the Eagles do it, I can understand it. I mean, I just think your Cowboys would be so stupid to do this too, fellas. If he falls to the Cowboys, I just think it would be really dumb. I do. I mean, we all know that Pollard's really good, right? We know he's really good. Yeah, he's hurt, and yeah, it's going to take him a while to come back. But he's really good. So draft a running back in the 5th round or 4th round. He'll be fine. Listen, fellas, your whole life is dependent on whether Doc can make plays or not. So I would not. I don't know. You guys are both Cowboys fans. Do you want to take these on the first round?
Man, I just think if they have him rated as high on the board as everyone down there believes they do, one of the top 2 or 3 on their draft board, if you're drafting at 26 and you get that value, I think you have to do it. And especially because it's at a position of kind of need, too. I mean, you don't know about Pollard and how he's going to come back, obviously cut ties with Zeke. And I think if you get that much value, I look at it similar to, they had CeeDee Lamb rated way higher on their board than a lot of people did, and it got to where he fell to where they felt like the value was too good. That pick has paid off because then they were able to find and strike gold with Diggs in the 3rd round at a position they probably should have drafted.
Different position.
Yeah. I know.
Wide receiver, by the way, you're getting ready to pay him a bunch of money, too. And you're going to pay Diggs a bunch of money.
But I also I think the timing of it works a little bit better than what it does with the Eagles, though, because Dak will be kind of coming off of, if Bijan is as good as he's supposed to be, maybe you look at a different solution there with a younger guy at quarterback that you're not having to pay when all these other guys are rolling through the money, and you do it kind of the way that what we saw with Kansas City.
Skinny, you're doing a really good job of talking yourself in. Keep going, because let me tell you, if y'all draft him, you'll be just like the Eagles. Only the difference is you want the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So you better win in the next 2 or 3 years, because, like I said, big CeeDee Lamb, you're already paying Dak a massive amount of money, and then here comes Robinson, and you're going to have to pay him a bunch of money. If they didn't learn that now. Zeke was way high. What was it, second or third?
Yeah, it was like third or fourth.
Yeah, that was a lot higher.
Right.
But still, I'm sorry. I'll tell you this: if I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, I really hope somebody takes Bijan Robinson before we draft.
Yeah,
I do.
Ultimately, I think that's what'll happen, and that decision won't have to be made. The nightmare scenario would be to watch him fall and then watch Jerry trade up to get him, which would just be ridiculous. But not out of the realm of possibility, unfortunately, with a guy that's that high on their board.
Listen, I want every Cowboy fan to know out there, I am not saying he's a great player.
Yeah.
A great player. I mean, I think he's awesome. But you look at Saquon Barkley, right? What did that do? He's been hurt. Now you got to pay him a bunch of money. What about McCaffrey? Yeah, he's unbelievable, but he's been hurt. I mean, just look at all the. I'll just bring it up. What is it? 20? Is it the last 20 years where no team has won the Super Bowl with a first-round running back?
I think that's right.
20, maybe 21 now. So, I mean, if that doesn't show you how little a first-round running back means, I don't know what does. Now, maybe the Eagles take Bijan Robinson and they win it, and it'll change that whole thing. But I'm not doing it, fellas. I'm not doing it. I don't care if Barry Sanders. Listen closely. I don't care if Barry Sanders is in the draft. I'm not doing it. And Barry Sanders to me is the best running back of all time. Now that may be a little bit too far, but I really believe, fellas, that running backs are a dime a dozen. Now, are there Barry Sanders? No, but you can get these. Look at the dude from OSU with the Steelers this year, fellas. Mm-hmm. He was so good. He didn't even get drafted. Go on and on about running backs. What was Pollard, a third-round pick?
Yeah, Pacheco with Kansas City was a seventh-round pick.
Love him. Love Pacheco. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's just one after another. So, again, as a Cowboy fan, I would want the Eagles to take him. Go ahead and take him. And then you guys can take somebody that you really need on the defensive side of the ball or wherever you might think.
Yeah, tight end or somebody like that with Schultz being gone. Maybe one of those tight ends would be there.
I wonder if the tight end, the kid from the tight end from Mayer from Notre Dame will probably be gone by 26.
Yeah, Kincaid.
But there's another really good tight end, right?
Yeah, Kincaid from Utah. I've seen him mocked to the Cowboys on a couple, but it feels like he's kind of shooting up the board. Maybe Mayer's falling just a little on some of them, but neither one right now look like they're going to be there. But you never know.
Well, the great thing for my Steelers and your Cowboys is that these idiots are going to take quarterback after quarterback. Okay, there's going to be wasted picks. Probably Levis and Richardson will go before either one of our teams.
Yep.
And you know what that means, fellas? Two people that should be drafted will fall, which means more people will fall to our team. I can't tell you how many times the Steelers have gotten players in this draft later in the first round because everybody's taking quarterback players that they should never get. It happens all the time. So anyway, by the way, for anybody out there, if somebody texts you or emails you or whatever, I did not want the Steelers to take Najee Harris. I'm on the radio. I said it. It made me mad. He's a great player, but I don't want a first-round guy. And here in a year or two, guess what? It's going to happen. They're going to have to tag him, and who knows? I hope he doesn't act like Le'Veon Bell did.
Absolutely. Hey, final question for me. OU spring game. Just give me your quick reaction. What did you see? What did you like? What you didn't like? What did you think?
McCullough and Bowen both really popped for me. Spring practice and the game means nothing to me. I've talked about this. I think it's all a bunch of junk. Remember one thing, fellas. The defense is always going to look better in the spring because they know all the plays. They know everything. They know the cadences. They know everything. So the defense will always look better in a spring game. Always. If your defense gets lit in a spring game, you better watch out. But I think McCullough looks really good, and I think Bowen looks really good. I think they got to figure out a way to get Bowen on the field. I just think he's one of those dudes that can help you get better. I do think the defense will be better. It's really, really obvious that the young kid has an incredible arm. I saw that when I watched him on a high school game. You guys have listened to me for a long time. I don't ever talk about a high school kid, all right? But I watched him play, and I thought, man, this is something special. And he can run. He got that long run, which probably was the right call. He probably would have gotten tackled. But you can see how he can run. So, yeah, he's a stud, fellas. He's a stud. I just don't want the fans to go crazy when Gabriel has one bad stretch. But that's going to happen. That's the way it is, right? The greatest person on the team is the backup quarterback. But those are the two guys that pop for me. Anybody for you guys? Anybody you guys like?
For sure, those. And that's what you really needed to see, especially with McCullough in that spot. And then Bowen, you can see why that was such a dramatic end to his recruiting, and people were so involved with the way that he was able to make. I mean, that actually looked like a real defensive back play, the way he did that. Ran hip for hip, turned around and dove and caught the ball or whatever. That was just textbook,
yeah.
And that's not something we've seen around Norman very often lately.
Great. I was just going to say, that's kind of rare, isn't it, around here?
Two things I would be concerned about. One, offensive line depth. I think a big part of why Arnold looks so bad early is because they couldn't block anybody. And like you said, they know the cadence. They know how to get off on the defensive line, so that's probably expected. But then receivers, who is going to step up at the receiver position to help the offense go? I think running back is going to be really good, but receivers, I don't know.
Wasn't very good Gibson dropping that ball.
Yeah.
Got to catch that ball. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's been other years where we talk at this time about the receivers. It seems like they always come around. And the offensive line, even though always get, by the 4th or 5th game, they usually look a lot better. But I'll say it again. The defensive line knows everything they're doing, Skip. Mm-hmm. Everything.
Yep.
Did you hear me tell that story on Friday about when I was in the spring game or what I did to the defense?
No, I was not able to listen on Friday.
I'll just tell it real quick.
Okay.
So our audibles at OSU were 2. Whenever I said 2, it was an audible. And the defense knew that. And 10 was both receivers slanting in. So I told the offense, we played a real game. Mm-hmm. And I told the offense, I said, here's the deal, fellas. I'm going to call an audible 2-10. They're going to think we're slanting. Every time I said 2, it was on 2. I said, fellas, it's going to be on 1. And that's why I said it. It's going to be on 1 instead of 2. And then, guys, you run slant. I'm going to pump and then go back out towards the flag. Okay? So we got to the line of scrimmage. I think we were on like the 19-yard line. I come to the line of scrimmage. I get under the center, and I go 210. And then I go, set, cut. And we center it on 1. Mm-hmm. And the defensive line wasn't ready because I thought it was going to be on 2. I take a 3-step drop. I pump the slant. They all come running. The defense, when I said 210, the guy goes, watch the slant, watch the slant. I pump the slant. They come flying, both safety and corner. He goes out. There wasn't anybody in 10 yards. So that's what you got to do, man. If you want to score against the defense, you got to mess with them because they know everything you're doing.
Yeah, and like you said, I said it earlier, if the defense doesn't look good in a spring game, you're in massive trouble come the fall because they have every advantage that they could possibly have. Hey, what do you got coming up?
They did. They played well. They looked good. So yeah. I will say this, fellas. I think this defense next year is going to be better. I just don't know how much. And that game didn't show me anything, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I totally agree. The level of better is what it will be fascinating to watch in the fall, just to see how much better it can get. What's coming up on the podcast, and what do you got on the show today?
Great. The podcast today is really good. Julie and I talked just a lot about our things that are going on in our life, and then she brings up some incredible stuff about the Bible. You guys got to listen. Also, listen closely, fellas. Next Monday, I will not be with you guys, okay? I'm going to be playing a poker tournament. But listen to this. Next Monday, Al Espex on the podcast.
Oh, very good.
And here's the deal. This coming Thursday, there's going to be 2 in a row with him. We're going to tape it at Othello's in Norman. So I know, gosh, you guys know, all the people listening to this are way far away. But if you want to drive in, Thursday it'll be about 7:30. Get a great dinner, and you'll be able to listen to me, Julie, and Al, and I think it's going to be great. We're going to talk about his whole life. We're going to talk about all the way back to PS20 and everything, how he got to where he is. So I think it's going to be really, really cool. I was really excited about it, so I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Very good.
Well, me and Aaron got to cover some baseball on Thursday,
Yeah.
but it's in the afternoon, so maybe
right.
if they take care of business, we can hot-tail it over there and check that out.
Exactly right.
Well, we'd love to see our fellows get some great Italian food, and we will have a wonderful night with Al.
All right, fantastic. Jim, thanks so much for joining us here on Monday. We'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
All right, fellas, thanks. See ya.
You betcha. That's the ultimate Jim Traber. You hear him right here on these airwaves at 2 o'clock, Jim and Julie Traber podcast. Also available everywhere podcasts are. All right, Jared.
Very good.
That'll do it from Sayre National. We thank everybody here the last couple of months being able to come over and hang out at Sayre National. And don't forget the Bob. 3 spots left in the Bob, 928-9046. Get your morning tea time for Saturday. You better get here because it's going to fill. I have total confidence it's going to fill by the time 7:30 in the morning rolls around on Saturday. It's Skinny on Sports signing off from Sayre National right here on the Sports Animal.
You've been listening to the Skinny on Sports podcast with Aaron Cow. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to get alerts of when the latest podcast is available. Thanks for listening.
That ball is blistered to right. Way back. Goodbye.
The NBA playoffs have started. The NFL draft's nearly here. Heck, Major League Baseball is even more enjoyable with quicker games. And, of course, the PGA Tour is in full swing. With all those things happening at once, you need a spot with multiple TVs. That place is the Sports Bar at Sayre National, which is equipped with multiple TVs as well as cold drinks to share with your buddies as you cuss and discuss your favorite team's fortunes. Come enjoy the atmosphere at Sayre National, Western Oklahoma's most inclusive club.